Coach, your defense has taken a lot of heat over the last couple of games. It ends up turning this game with the pick six and the goal line stand. You talk about what that says about.
Well, I just thought for them to, in the second half, to play as well as they did in the first half, and the second half to come out and get a pick six and take it to the house and really change the game, really take the pressure off of us and put it on the opponent. I just thought that was so big of them. I'm so happy for them.
You talk about game today. I mean, a school record, 270 yards. What does it mean to you? And did you just see that matchup with Summers man-to-man and think you can take advantage of it today?
You know, it really wasn't man-to-man. It was a lot of zone concepts with him, and we really think that Amba can beat either corner. It's not a matter of going at one or the other, but he's an exceptional player. He has a lot of God-given athletic ability, and he's really came in and bought into techniques and fundamentals, and he's taken off. And I wish him nothing but the best. It's going to be, I think he's already passed his previous career high as a collegiate in the first 4 games with us, with his whole entire career he had at the other school. So I think if you asked him, I think he might have made a good choice.
Nico?
Coach, back here, we saw the scene after the game with the players and their family and the look of satisfaction on everybody's face after, you know, it would almost be an obvious question, but after the frustration a couple of weeks, how good is it just to be able to get out there and get a win over a good team today?
Well, it's just good to be, say you're 2-2. You would think like, you wouldn't take pride in that, but it's a big difference saying you're 2-2 than when you're 1-3. And these guys have really worked hard, and I just want to make sure they have an opportunity for it to pay off. And for them to get this win on the road against a very good opponent. You're talking about a team that was undefeated. Wish we were. A team that was undefeated and had an opportunity to win the football game. Connecticut's a good football team. Coach is doing a fabulous job there, and they'll get to a bowl game. This is a good team, so I'm happy and happy for the team, and hopefully we can keep it going. Thanks. Great question, Nico.
I don't imagine Amba walks in the door and Eric feels comfortable throwing 50-50 balls to him or letting him just make plays. Maybe I'm wrong. But where did he kind of earn that trust, and where did you start to see it?
It goes over in the summer, and our administration does a fine job of finding a way to make sure that all our guys stay there and take classes. We're trying to get our guys to graduate in 3.5 years and give them an opportunity to get master's degree while they're still underneath athletic grant and aid, and they come in the summertime, and when they're taking those classes, it gives them an opportunity to work together. And he came in with Eric, and they did a fabulous job. They worked with all the receivers, but it always happens like that. A quarterback and some receiver will just bond. It just happens. It's a boy-girl thing. It just happens. And they just got this connection with them. They just know what the other person's going to do. And Eric has a lot of faith throwing that ball up to him in 50-50 situations. I don't know what the percentage is of him coming down with those, but that might be a great article to write. I think it's kind of high.
50-50.
Yeah, I think so.
Steven?
I think your offensive line today came in with like 8 career starts between the 5 of them. How did you try and get them on the same page in the week coming up? 3 guys who didn't start the year as starters, and how would you kind of assess how they played today?
I think any time that those guys play their first game, 8 starts out of the entire offensive line, that's difficult. So we won the game, so I'm happy with their effort. And I know we had some penalties and we had some mental mistakes. There's no doubt about it. But we've got to grow from there. No one's going to feel sorry for us. Those guys have to grow up, and we've got more games to play, and we expect them to help us win.
Anyone in particular in that group that you're pleased with today?
I think that overall the entire group did well. It's hard to really pencil out or separate one offensive lineman, but I think I need to reserve that until I see the tape. But proud of that unit, excited about the job that Colin Burns did for his second start.
John?
How much of Amba's day do you attribute to his skill and his ability to get open versus how much was Eric being able to make the right throws, good throws, and right reads?
Oh, I couldn't separate that. You don't separate a quarterback and his receiver. That's like saying who's better, Joe Montana or Rice. You don't talk to them as singular. You talk about them together. So Dungy and Amba, that's a tag team. You know what I mean? I thought Brisley did some things, Ist did some things in there, and then I thought our running backs for certain parts of the game ran extremely well. So I think there's a lot of guys that contribute, but Amba and Eric has had a little connection going here the first 4 weeks, and I'm sure that some defense coordinator is going to say, hey, that's enough, and and take them away, and there's going to be time for somebody else to step up in that group.
Sal?
Coach, I know a lot of times teams say when you go on the road, you get away, that's when you really start to come together and bond. Is that something that you've seen, that, you know, this trip was more than just getting a tough road win, that a lot of young guys were able to kind of, this is where the team is built?
Absolutely. I think that we're going to be a different football team, either positively or negatively, when we get done with this road trip. We've got 2 more weeks. We're looking at them 1 week at a time. And regardless of whether we win or lose the games, we hope we win them all. We need to, when we come back off the road, we have to be a much tighter unit. We have to be a better family.
Nico?
A similar question, Coach. Down the stretch there, is it a sign of this team's growth that the last drive led to the touchdown for you guys? You know, the game's essentially on the line. You get 3 big third-down conversions, including that big pass, and you convert to essentially put the game out of reach. Is that a sign of this team's growth?
You know, let's talk about the whole thing in general. You have Connecticut, I believe, go down with the fake field goal. They get really close. They get 4 shots from inside the 4. They go for it on 4th and 1 at the 1. They have their best player with the ball on the 1-yard line, getting tackled by one of our best players, Zaire Franklin, on the 1-yard line. And then we turn around and we go 99 yards, converting 3rd downs, and then ending up with a score with our best player jumping over somebody again for a touchdown. He's allowed to jump on touchdowns. But, I mean, that's exciting, and that's the kind of stuff that brings teams together.
Time for 2 more questions. Second row here.
Yeah, Coach, how did you go about defending Thomas, and what kind of adjustments did you make along the way with him?
You know, he's a good player. He made plays out there. It wasn't like we didn't contain him. I didn't feel. I mean, every time he touched the ball, I thought I was on the edge of my seat, and I didn't have a seat. I was standing up. He's got some stuff to him. I think he's a really good player, and he made plays for him, and probably just wish he would have made 1 or 2 more. But I think he's really good.
Last question from Tomara in the back.
Coach, I saw you talking with Cole Murphy before the game. Obviously, he had a little bit of a rough game, missed 2 field goals. What were you talking about before the game, and what do you tell him after a game like this when he had a rough stretch? I
was talking to him before the game?
That's what it looked like.
Before the game started?
Yeah.
I was probably telling him about how nice the weather looked. After the game, it may not have been about weather, but before the game, it was about weather. You know, kickers are kickers, you know, and the flags start blowing, and they start looking around, and I'm like, hey, it's going to blow for both kickers, you know, both guys have to kick into it. But Cole did a nice job. He slipped on the 1 field goal. He just slipped. He's on grass. Grass has moisture. We practice on grass at home a lot, and he just slipped. You know, it happens. That's just a happening. And then I believe he had the 2 kickoffs that went out of bounds, and really with that football team and who we were playing, do we want the ball to go out and then get it on the 35-yard line? No. But was it such a bad thing? No, it really wasn't. So I'd rather have it on the 35 than have one of those returners taking it back for a touchdown or something like that. So could he do better? Yeah. Am I okay with him? I'm okay with him. Do I want to trade him? Heck no, I don't want to trade him. I like Cole a lot. He's going to help us.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.